we're going to jump right into it. I'm not going to waste any time. So today I want to get on here and talk about my testimony and how I got saved. So this one, I'm going to try to make it as quick as possible and to the point. So I'm not like going off on a bunch of rabbit holes, but because I mean, there is a lot of stuff that I guess is intertwined in the web, if you will. But basically, so I just want to start out by saying that I grew up sort of like in a Christian household. And the reason I say sort of is because definitely yes, but at the same time, like there'd be so many times, throughout my teenage years or just my youth that we would go to church or we wouldn't go to church. And like, we would not go to church more than we would go to church, if that makes sense. And so like, also my mom and dad, they were divorced in like 2004. My mom got remarried. My dad got remarried. My dad was never like a Christian or anything. At one point in his life, he started going to church a little bit. I do know that. I don't know if he still does, but my mom and my stepdad, it was on and off, and my sister and I lived with them up until like the 5th grade, and then we went and lived with my dad full time, basically. So really like not in the church as much as we should have been. And a key point I want to make here is that I remember specifically asking multiple times, when we would go to church, like, hey, can I get baptized? And the answer was always like, not right now, or something like that. I can't give you a specific because I don't remember, but it was always like, not right now, or something along those lines. And so that is really important to what I'm about to tie into here in a little bit. But whenever I turned 18, I wasn't like pursuing God, let's just say that. And I definitely was like, all right, I'm doing my own thing. Like 100%, I'm doing this whole thing on my own. And so I ended up meeting my wife. And we, I met her in 8th grade, but we got together as soon as we graduated high school. And we've been together ever since. So we were dating for 4 years, and then we got married. Neither of us were pursuing the Lord during that time. It was only a year ago, so for 7 years we were not pursuing the Lord. But we lived together. We did all the things the wrong way. And as much as I would like to say that I would have loved to go back and do it different, I don't have that opportunity, and I'm here where I am now, and I wouldn't change anything about it. So I have a lovely wife. God gave me a lovely wife. She's amazing. She is perfect for me, and she is perfect for our 2 children, and our 2 children are amazing. And I'm thankful for the life that we have and everything that is given to us. And I just want to make that, like, that's very important. Everything that we have, I am so thankful for. I thank God every single day for everything. And I think that is important for everybody to take away from this video. Thank Him. Don't just create a laundry list of things that you want. For example, talk to Him, have a relationship with Him, thank Him. But to kind of zone back in, so there was a lot of the years that I was pretty depressed. And like, I remember specifically when I was a teenager, I would say, I think that's the stupidest word that people use, like, just to get attention, until it happened to me. And like, I was just depressed. And to tell you the reason why is because I was not, like, my heart wasn't in the right place. My mind wasn't in the right place. I was not following God. I wasn't at all following Him, And the thing is, this whole time, by the way, I would always have this thought in my mind every once in a while, hey, like, you should be following God. And I would literally just push it out of my mind. That's what I would do. And so What I will say is, if any of you are experiencing that and you are pushing God out of your mind, just take the advice from me and quit doing that and just start following him, pursue him, because your life will change in the best way. But there was a point in time where a lot of stuff happened in my life with me and my wife, and especially when we were having our first kid, and a whole bunch of stuff. And I don't want to necessarily get into specifics, but there's a lot of stuff that happened, and over the years, like, things got progressively worse too, with like the depression that I dealt with. But like, I was suppressing it with alcohol, and so not a good idea. That does not fix anything at all. But anyways, so huge major event that happened was the whole Charlie Kirk thing. And I will, I'm going to come back to that point, but like before that, like right before that, a ton of stuff happened. So we had bought a house in 2023. And so then 2025 rolls around, and I'm just getting out of paramedic school, or about to graduate. Just went through this long, hard year of paramedic school while working full time, taking care of my children, doing a whole bunch of school, clinicals, all kinds of stuff, right? Taking care of my children, my wife, like trying to spend time with them. And like, one thing with that I want to point out is, like, I was always like, at the end of this, I will be satisfied when I get done with school. I will finally be happy. So keep that in mind, because that is not the first time that I did something like that. I would always be like, well, if I can get this, I will finally be happy. It doesn't work. You just keep chasing the material thing or the worldly thing, and it does not fulfill. I will tell you that. So we're getting ready to sell our house because we were promised. I say promised. We were told by some family that we could build on their property. They were going to give us 5 acres. And so literally that was the only reason we were going to sell our house. And so we spent $3,000 fixing up some stuff around our house, and we went all in on this thing. Like, we got it ready to sell. We got it on the market. This took like 2 months of preparation, maybe even a little more than that. And so literally we had a buyer in 2 days, okay? 2 days before we were going to close on a house. Said family member calls my wife and goes, hey, super sorry, but we're going to sell all this property at market value. And so literally 2 days before we sell our house, that happened. And like, we ended up selling it, and I'll just say this, not easy, okay? Not an easy thing for me to deal with mentally. We were pretty upset at the time, but God meant it for good, and I'll tell you why. So at the time, we still were not following God. But we sell our house, we go ahead and we sell our house, and like, we kind of changed the plans up a little bit. We were going to do something else. So we moved in with my grandparents. And, I was so mad that what happened was, well, we had my wife's car, and we had a car payment on it. So it was a 4Runner 2015, and the payment wasn't too much every month, but at the time, like, it was what it was, like, and I had a paid off vehicle. Well, my truck started giving me problems, and because I was so mad and I was thinking irrationally, I was like, you know what, screw it, we don't have a house anymore. I'm gonna go buy a brand new truck because that's gonna make me happy. So I go and I buy a brand new truck right off the lot, literally like that day or the next day that I was having the problems. And so I go to the dealership, and I basically gave away my paid off truck as a trade-in. Dumb decision. But I bought a 2025 Tacoma, and I thought, wow, this thing is going to make me so happy. Well, not only did I do that, I bought a camper shell for it, and I ended up buying a dual sport dirt bike. And so then all of a sudden, I had racked up this consumer debt. Okay, not home debt. No home for this debt. 87,000 some odd dollars worth of consumer debt. Was not a good feeling, but we rolled with it. So, I was like, whatever, things will get better. Well, the Charlie Kirk thing happened, and literally that day, my wife, goes to show me the video, and we're driving down the road, and she goes to show me this video, and I was like, no, like, I don't want to watch. Like, something literally came over me and was like, absolutely not. And like, here's the deal. I work in the fire EMS world, and so like, I see things, a lot of things that a lot of people don't see, and I didn't want to see that. And it wasn't like normally I'd be like, yeah, whatever. This time, I did not want to. Like, there was something that literally came over me and was like, absolutely not. Like, do not watch this. And that day, that moment was when I realized that there was a huge war between good and evil. And I knew the problem instantly, literally instantly. And so I just had this unsettling feeling come over me, and I had this realization that it was time to quit putting God out of the picture, and it was time to bring him back into our lives. And so, it was not a quick overnight process, but it literally sparked that realization. And so, I talked to my wife about it, and she was on the same page, but we didn't really talk much more about it. Well, we make a trip to North Carolina to see my family, and my brother, who was 16, almost 17 at the time, super, he has a super good relationship with God. And I look up to him, and I'm his older brother, okay? I'll just say that. And so he, while we were there, changed the course of everything for us, because he helped us set out on this good path, okay? And again, God meant it for good, all of this. Well, something I forgot to mention is I ended up having 2 bulge discs in my neck, and it was causing neck problems as well as some back problems. And so I didn't know what to do about work, and I just kept pushing it off. And long story short, I ended up dealing with this for a lot longer than I expected. I thought it was just going to go away. No. Well, to make a long story short, seriously trying to make a long story short, we came back from that North Carolina trip. And by the way, this whole trip, my neck and my back are hurting. And we go to church. And that, we started our journey with following God. We accepted Christ into our lives, I believe, in North Carolina. Maybe when we got back. I cannot remember. But if it wasn't in North Carolina, it was as soon as we got back, as soon as we got into church. But basically what happened after that was that it was a slow progress, but this whole time, number one, we decided to get out of debt. So we kicked butt on that. And we got out of all the car payments, the dirt bike, all this stupid crap. Got out of all of it by the grace of God. And it took time. It took hard work. But also, I had to go on FMLA, and I didn't know if I was going to be able to go back to work at all. But here's the deal. Nothing is working. Physical therapy wasn't working. Injections weren't working. This is for my neck. Nothing was working. And one day I finally decided, okay, Lord, you know what? I'm surrendering everything to you. Everything. I submit 100%. Not going to worry about tomorrow. Not going to worry about 3 months from now. That week, everything started to change with healing. I feel great compared to a couple months ago. I've dived into the Word more than I ever have these past couple months. I have leaned on the Lord more than I ever have in my entire life. I got freaking baptized, and that was why. That was why I didn't get baptized when I was a kid, because it was leading all to this moment. And, I hope I'm not leaving a bunch of vital information out for you guys. And I'm sorry also that the lighting is getting a little dark, but you know what? I don't care. This story is more important than this stupid lighting. So I hope you can deal with it. Basically, I didn't think I was going to return to work. I didn't think I was ever going to freaking heal, because I was even having nerve pain in my hand because of the bulge disc pushing on my nerve. And so all of that's gone. I feel better. I've been going to the gym like 3 times a week for maybe like a month and a half, 2 months now. And I am better than I was before. And I get to go back to work. Tomorrow I return to work. And that is a blessing from God. Listen, Jesus saves. Not alcohol, not drugs, nothing. Jesus saves. And I cannot tell you how much I mean that. I hope this video encourages just one person. And I hope that you listening to my testimony, pushes you to follow God if you're not. And if you have questions, ask me. Type in the comments. I will answer you back. This is a video I've been wanting to make for a while, and I hope that I got everything out that I needed to say with this. But I will tell you right now, the reason I started posting this type of content on my YouTube is because I think it's important. I think it would be a shame for me not to spread the gospel, spread the good news, and just spread good information and good Christian information to whoever sees these videos. So, with that being said, I'm going to wrap it up, and I'll see you.